Alright, everybody, welcome back to another Together Work podcast. My name is Usman Khan.
Evan Battey.
Jack Rockio.
But yeah, if you're from Boulder, you definitely know the man right here. He's known for his contributions on and off the court. And over here, he's known as the mayor of Boulder. So let's get right into this. We want to know about you. So take us from the beginning. Tell us about your childhood, where you were born, and the whole journey.
Okay, so I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California. So that was 1998 I was born, and grew up my middle school and elementary school. I had my mom, my sister, and my dad living with me. And that was a cool upbringing, and just from the fact that I had a good support system, always with me. And just always been enveloped in sports. It's always been my motto. It's always been my forte. And just all throughout my life. So.
Do you have an older sibling or younger?
Older, only sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does she play any sports?
She played club volleyball at Oregon State. She played volleyball throughout her life, and she ran track and played soccer. And I fancy her much more athletic than me, but yeah, my dad played baseball at UCLA, and my mom played basketball in high school and ran track in high school. So, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw online, your grandpa is MLB All-Star, right? Yeah, that's awesome, man. So it's always been in the family.
It's always been in the family. Just sports has been just the main point of our family for a long time.
And have you been playing basketball your whole life, or have you
I've
dabbled
been-
in other stuff?
I've been playing basketball since I was like 4, so I started off with basketball and soccer. I didn't play baseball because those two took up all my time.
Yeah.
And really, my mom wanted me to play something that was continuous, so like offense, defense, like doesn't have any breaks in the game, kind of, and like just transition. That's how life is. It's always transitioning. So that was a real point of emphasis for my mom for me to run my energy every day. So she didn't really play baseball. We just stand there and waiting for some action or
Doing whatever in the dugout.
like in the outfield picking grass or like football, just like sitting on the sideline for offense or like defense. I mean, she wanted me like to be continuously moving. So.
Sweet. So you said you were born in LA.
Yeah.
And for the people that don't know this, we actually went to rival high schools.
Yeah.
So I was at his basketball games early on, and that's in Orange County. How'd you make that move, and when was that?
So I went to a small school, Macy's High School. It was actually middle school and high school. So I went there, and I had some academic issues there. I just wasn't the best student. So it wasn't really geared for student athletes though at school. So I had to go somewhere else and get out of my comfort zone, really, out of LA, and just try to make a new name and new kind of just living for myself. And that's why I found Little Park. I already had some friends there, being Mazda and Julian Becker. So that was pretty cool.
Twins.
Yeah. They're not twins, they're brothers.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they look like twins.
Yeah,
though.
they do.
Yeah.
I always thought they were twins.
Yeah, they're not
That's
twins,
crazy.
they're brothers. But yeah.
Sorry. At that point, did you know that you were looking to go to college for athletics? Because if you're talking about the school not being very student athlete oriented,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, that was always the goal. I mean, playing basketball throughout my life, playing AAU since I was like 9, 10 years old, that was the goal. College is the end goal. Professional, not so much, but college definitely. So, just me, keep on playing basketball. I had to, get some grades. And I had to be more studious. And I think Villa Park taught me how to do that more so than other schools. But that was more so focused on just academics.
So how was that transition? You said you wanted a new name, you wanted to start fresh.
Right.
Was that tough? And I mean, it was obviously tough because you were younger, but walk me through that. How did that feel? What did you learn? And things like that?
It was tough just because I didn't know any people out there. So I knew Miles and knew Julian. That's really it. So when I came out to Villa Park, the first couple weeks were tough. I didn't really know anybody. I didn't want to follow them around. Be kind of a leash in that sense. Just always latching onto them. I wanted to still be my own person, but just not always needing them. So that was kind of hard finding that balance.
Yeah.
And it was just tricky because I didn't have any people were so-called intimidated of me because I'm 6'7", heavy set.
You are very tall.
I'm a big dude.
Yeah.
So
Is that how tall you were at the time?
I was probably 6'6",
Oh.
6'5" maybe.
Yeah.
But I was heavy set. I was heavier than I am now, and just it's kind definitely intimidating. I mean, I would be intimidated too. I guess if I was in their shoes. So
Definitely at that age, I feel like a lot of people dabble with like learning how to be extrovert or introverted, talking to people, things like that. I mean, nowadays, seeing you around Boulder, seeing you out, you're very outgoing and I would say a popular guy. Was that always the case?
I think it is, but it's just like when you're so new, it's kind of hard to like start off that way. You know, so it's hard. It's kind of hard to like have that persona if you don't know anybody. You know, so that was always a challenge. And once I started playing basketball, it started getting more. Oh, what's happening? But like before that, it's like before the season started, it was just like I didn't have many friends. I had to make friends, and that's never been an area that I was struggling in, but just it was the fear of just being uncomfortable at that point.
So how was that? I mean, now looking back at it, how do you feel about that uncomfort and where it took you? I mean, obviously you've done great after that, but in that time, if you could look back, what would you say to that little Evan?
I think there was a point where that probably was the turning point in my life. I realized that being uncomfortable is where you grow the most, and that sort of discomfort, I needed that, to push my boundaries and to push just my voice and really express my character in different ways. And that was a really big thing for me. Just realizing that. I realized it, probably 2 years later. I'm like, whoa, I really needed that. I needed that step back. I needed that. Just that feeling of being lonely, kind of. I mean, I'm never lonely, but I felt lonely at the time. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience as well, I think some of the most important growth happens when you're uncomfortable alone as well. So it's really easy to be uncomfortable relying on people that you can't grow with.
Right.
But when it's just you and yourself, and you're just, I know it's a cliche term, but like doing you, it's real. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that, especially in situations where you move or you go to a new school or you try a new sport. I think like having that moment where you can turn inward and really get to know yourself is really powerful.
Yeah, for real.
I agree with that. So the reason I asked that is because I grew up in Dubai, and then I left it when I was at 10, and I moved to El Rancho, which is the same area.
Right.
And that transition for me was the first time I really had to like step in my uncomfort zone.
Right.
So was that the first time for you as well, like stepping in that uncertainty in your life?
I don't think it's the first time. I mean, I had situations where I'd be walking to the gym, I'm the worst player there.
Yeah.
And I'm not really used to that. So I'm like, oh wow, like I got some work to do. I walk into a different friend group, an older friend group, and I'm like, more immature than them.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't really matter the situation. Just like it wasn't my first time, but it's definitely like probably the most prominent time for sure.
Oh yeah, man, that's awesome. I mean, and look where it took you now.
Right.
So how was that high school journey when you came in? You're talking about when you walk in and you weren't the best in the gym. How were you skill-wise compared to everybody else?
Yeah, a little part I probably was the best in the gym, but like the AAU was really challenging. I wasn't. AAU is a vast.
Older ball game.
Oh my God! From high school to AAU is a totally different ball game. AAU, the collection of best players in your high school is on your team. So I mean, from that standpoint. Those guys are the best players in their respective teams as well.
Yeah.
So it's just like, wow, I'm not as good as I thought I was, and I'm not as good as I am painting myself to be. So I mean, that's where the work comes in.
Yeah.
That's when you realize how much work is needed to, progress.
And where did this like leadership come from? I mean, over here you're known for leadership. Has this always been a part of your game and the way you live life, or is that something that started later on or in high school?
I think it started later on, honestly. One little thing you might not know, I felt ninth grade. So I was at Laces.
Was that before the move or after?
That was before the move.
Okay.
So my parents got divorced when I was in 5th, 6th grade, and they stayed in the same house throughout the middle school years, and that was kind of tough for me personally, just that dynamic. And I just wouldn't focus on school. I was focusing on social life and running around the streets of LA and on my bike and with my friends, and just not with my my head screwed on the right way. And I learned that the hard way when I felt not great. I had to look at myself in the mirror. Had to, self-reflection is a really big thing. You know, self-reflection is where you grow the most. I feel like that feeling, because it's uncomfortable.
100%.
We're talking about uncomfortable and discomfort. Self-reflection is uncomfortable.
So how was that process for you though? In ninth grade, you just felt ninth grade and you're like reflecting on yourself. What do you even say? How'd you even get through that?
I felt great at staying in the same school. So that's like, you know what I'm saying?
See all your homies going,
Oh,
friends going into the new grade.
I'm
and
getting made fun of.
Yeah. Geometry still.
Yeah, I'm getting made fun of and everything. I know, like, it's needed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need this loss.
To wake up.
I need this. You know what I'm saying?
So going back, I think it's really interesting. You know, you said you went to the AAU and it's really uncomfortable.
Right.
And I mean, you didn't say uncomfortable. That was uncomfortable, right? Like you're seeing all these people who are better than you or as good as you. So I think one thing I just want to highlight that I don't know if you made this connection that I just did is that uncomfort that you felt in that moment. You knew you could rely on yourself because you turned inward before. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's something people don't do enough. Is when they feel uncomfortable, they lean on everything else other than themselves.
But themselves.
Because every situation they get to, they're finding new people to lean on, or things, or drugs, or whatever they need.
Right.
So if you can find that power within you to just go to yourself, like have that moment of reflection on yourself, every time you become uncomfortable, you can rely on yourself.
Like any issue, you gotta look at yourself first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Before you point the fingers at everybody else, you gotta point your thumb at yourself.
I think that point itself is so much deeper than people really take it as. Because I feel like with COVID and everything, everybody being by themselves and things like that, it's made people focus on themselves a lot more. And now the outcomes of that, for some people it's been amazing. Some people it's been really bad.
Right.
And that necessarily isn't a bad thing. It's just the first time you're looking within. But I definitely agree with that. Like one of our sayings in Together Org is change starts within. Because even like when my parents got divorced, man, that's a struggle too. Like you don't know how to deal with that, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
But when you start looking within, you find those answers within, the rest of the world changes completely.
I agree for sure. And it's not, you know, it's so easy to like look at everybody else when things are going bad and just blame everybody else. Like, it's so easy to do that. And you gotta really like be uncomfortable and like really look at yourself and be like, wow, like I need some help. I need some areas that I can grow.
And I think that vulnerability is very important too, like being able to understand that I do need help and I can ask for help.
Oh yeah. I mean, help is only there if you ask for it.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna read your mind and he'll help you if you don't ask for it. You know
Yeah, 100%.
Especially if you got your guard up.
Exactly.
I think that's another really powerful thing that some people don't understand is when you're going through something hard, a lot of people tend to do this thing where they kind of demean it, if that makes sense. Like they're like, oh, this is that bad. Like my friend's parents died, or whatever the case may be. But when you really think about it, the worst thing you've ever been through is the worst thing you've ever been through.
Right.
Like you can't put yourself in somebody else's shoes
No.
and be like, oh, I know what that feels like, because you'll never know what that feels like until it happens.
Right.
They could tell you, you could read 100,000 books on it,
Right.
but if it doesn't happen to you, you can't fully understand.
Right.
So understanding the worst thing that happens to you, whatever it may be, you got to internalize that and understand it. This is bad, but it's okay. Like I'm gonna get through this because everybody has that. It's just a different level.
I mean, that can last forever.
Exactly.
You know, good or bad, that can last forever. It don't storm forever. It don't be sunny forever. You know, it's gonna change regardless. Yeah. So you gotta be so adaptable. You can change with it.
So speaking of that, speaking of adapting and nothing lasts forever, how did the AAU stuff go? I'm just kind of curious.
It went good. You know, I had a great group of guys on my team, and I had a great coaching staff. And my program, Dream Vision AAU program, was really good to me. And you know, I was with them since I was in 8th grade. So I didn't change my team once. So it was just, you know, it's a family over there. And you know, it was just good to go through my struggles in school with them, because my AAU team helped me with school. You know, helped me, you know, with summer school, helped me with, you know, getting eligible for NCAA, like all that stuff that needed to get done. They helped me with it.
So how was that process? I mean, going from failing to being able to like get your grades down so that you're able to play. What did you do there? Did you go to tutoring? What resources did you use? And that kind of aligns with another question is when you talk about like looking within.
Yeah.
That process is different for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people use, like, there's different resources. Some people journal, some people do affirmations, some people just talk in the mirror. What was that journey for you, and what resources did you use and things? How? Just walk me through that.
Yeah. I say, so I transferred out to my sophomore year. So I fell ninth grade. I played my second ninth grade at the same school lessons. Then my sophomore year, 3 years out of high school. And then I transferred out of Boulder. And at that moment, I'm just like, okay, like, you came here for a reason. You know, you came here for a reason, you gotta get it done. And it's really make or break at this point because you want to go to college or not?
Yeah.
You know?
SATs rolling around,
Yeah.
all that stuff, like the big college joke.
Right, you want to go to college or not? Pretty much. You want to play college basketball or not? You know, I had to ask myself that question, over and over again. And more so, I had to live it out in my everyday life. Training, books, school, homework, all of that. And I had to live it. I couldn't just talk about it. I had to live it. And that's one of the things that is hard because in growth in itself, because it's always words until you actually do it. You can say as many words you want, but until the actions are actually there, it don't mean nothing.
But how did you do that? So you're saying it's hard. I mean, we all struggle with this. Like, I'll wake up in the morning and I'll be like, I'm gonna go hit legs today.
Right.
Some comes.
Right.
I'm not really hitting legs.
Right.
But like,
Right.
how do you make yourself walk that walk?
I think it's the discipline. It's just like discipline and habits. Mental toughness. It's just all those things that combined. It has to have you got to want it enough. Honestly, you got to want it more than anybody else wants it for you. You gotta want it. You gotta desire it, and you gotta live it. And that's one of the things I did. I just felt tired of being a kid with bad grades. I remember clear as day. I first came to Little Park, so we had coaches in the gym watching us practice and everything. And my coach showing them my transcripts, and I'm like, woof. The coach was like, what am I supposed to do with this? You know what I'm saying? Like, because it was just like, you can't go to college like this, So I was like, damn, like, I really gotta, make some shit shake and make some, like, change my life around, that was really a wake-up call, when the coach was talking about my grades, I was like, you're not gonna make it, son. Like, I'm like, wow, I need to, like, really change. And it all depends on what you want in life, you're gonna chase after things, you want in life anyway, so, well, I just do it with full effort, full throttle.
And what were your family's thoughts on this whole situation of you not being able to go to college? Did you have any family pressure?
My dad and my mom. My dad went to UCLA and played baseball. My mom went to USC and graduated, and she has what, 2 or 3 years in USC. She taught at LMU in that class. Well-educated family, but just like my trauma of my parents getting divorced. It's not like it's really that bad. Obviously, what you're saying, the worst thing that happened to you is the worst thing that happened to you. But I feel like it was not even that bad of a divorce. But it still was a thing that was blocking me mentally from succeeding.
And I think that's so important that you say that because, so I went through it, like I told you, my parents got divorced too, and I had to move. But I talk to a lot of kids nowadays that have had families that get divorced, and they don't realize that lots of times when you're not able to do school or perform your best, it's not because you don't want to, but it's because you have all this baggage that you're not dealing with.
Right. I didn't really confront it. I didn't really confront my feelings. I just was sad. When I was younger, I was really sad. But when I was older, I just wouldn't stay in the house. I just be out with my friends because I didn't want to stay in the house. I didn't want to go to a home where my mom lives upstairs and my dad living downstairs. You know what I'm saying? The dynamic was not the best. And it took me till my mom moved out and moved a mile away. And she's been there ever since. And that's when I really started to make that jump. And just the dynamic wasn't the same anymore. The dynamic allowed me to change. Just my dad and my mom being separated, but really separated at the same time was good for me.
Another thing I think is really powerful too is when you come in those situations where your parents are getting divorced or the coaches are looking at you with your bad grades and not really sure what to think. There's another saying that I've heard before, and it's just like you can't love anything else until you love yourself, right? Like you could love the game of basketball, but you're not going anywhere unless you love yourself playing basketball.
Right.
So I think it's really important also when you have those moments of struggle when you're dealing with something, like being able to turn inward, being happy with the person you see in the mirror. You can take on any battle, right? Like you're the 300 Spartans in that moment because you can do whatever you want because you know you can.
Right.
A lot of the depression and the not hitting legs kind of thing comes from I don't want to see myself do that because I don't love myself.
If you love yourself, you're going to do it.
Right, because you want to see yourself succeed. You want to see
Exactly.
yourself, exactly. So everything you want can come to fruition the moment that you want it for yourself.
That's a great point.
Because just because your parents want it for you, that doesn't really
That doesn't mean anything.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything.
Kind of like what you were saying was you were sadder when you were younger, but I feel like with everybody that's struggling with anything, there's always comes a point where your family can want something for you, but you're not going to make that change until you sit in the mirror and you're like, you know what? I don't want to be sad anymore. I don't want to stay in bed anymore. I don't want to get bad grades anymore. And you have to make that decision.
It took a whole summer for me, actually. Just like, it took a whole summer of like just being around people who were going to college, people who were going to college for being basketball players, and my older teammates like Chase Jeter from Duke and Justin Simon from Arizona. All those guys on my older team, the Adrian team, they were going to college and like they all had grades, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And that's like, okay, like I need to change. Like,
and you've probably heard this quote. I mean, I feel like everybody has, but people always say the people you surround yourself is the person you become. And you're talking about how you just changed your group, right?
Yeah.
With kids that are getting those grades, that are going to play college. How much of an impact do you think that had in you changing your lifestyle and getting on track?
Well, I told you, my first high school, they wasn't really geared for student athletes. I think we had maybe 3 or 4 student athletes go play college ball, like in the whole spectrum of sports in my time there, my 7 years there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not the best numbers. We played in Villa Park, but we have, probably 50 dudes going, or 50 women and men going to play, Division I, whatever, water polo,
all of them,
football,
track,
like anything. Like that's the separator. I think. It takes a village. The village is gonna, inflict their knowledge and inflict their upbringing on you, and I just had to be around some people who had the same goals as me. I'd say.
Yeah. So for me, just staying with the high school thing, when you were in that moment when you weren't feeling good about your grades or your parents, you played college basketball for 4 years, so you started every game, played every game, right? Pretty impressive. What was it like being able to turn to athletics? Like I've had that experience. I played rugby, so I played rugby here. What is it like for you? Because I've had that experience as well. So just telling people, what is it like being able to have something to turn to just want, put all your effort into, and like really want something for yourself that's not just a broad goal. I want to be successful. It's kind of I think a lot of people say, but there's no tangible ways to get it.
Right. I mean, before we start on that, I feel like so in middle school, before I even played high school ball, before I fell in grade, I was struggling in school. Because remember, my mom and dad got divorced in 5th, 6th grade. So my mom would, if I didn't have the grades, she wouldn't let me play basketball. So that was what you call, but it took me, some years, and it took me to fill 9th grade to really register that. And when I filled 9th grade, that whole year, I wasn't playing basketball, I wasn't eligible. I probably gained 30, 40 pounds. I was just eating, not doing anything, not working out, not being active, just with my friends to eat every day. And it's cool, you think it's cool, like you with your friends, and you think it's like the cool thing to do, you're just having a good time. But nah, bro. I had to really, and I had that perspective of not playing basketball to lean on when I felt like when I felt tired of being in the gym, when I felt tired of working out. Now I'm like, okay, I'm grateful to play basketball each and every day because I know what it's like to not play basketball. Right? I know what it's like to be ineligible. I know what it's like to have my mom rip the cord for me and no video game, no basketball, everything. So that was my motivation from then on out.
And with that, I don't know, it's kind of a weird reference, but you ever seen Blue Dog State? You ever watch that show?
Yeah,
you remember at the end when they lose the state championship, and he's like, the beer's gonna taste better than the win.
Yeah.
And I think that's really true. Like, there is a time and a place for putting on some weight, hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
But that tastes so much better. It feels so much better when you take care of your dudes.
Yes.
Like whether that's school, being a good son, a good
Yes.
father, a good friend, athletics, all of these things. Everybody has their thing. When you take care of that and you do what you want to do in that, going and drinking with your friends or going to eat or just biking around, it feels so much better.
My mom always told me, always hammered this in my head when I was young. She said, do what you have to do so you do what you want to do. And it took me, a good amount of time to really realize and internalize that into production.
And I think that's a very important quote or line from your mom, because you have to do the things you hate to gain the freedom to do the things you want. Same with I'm in engineering school. It's hard. I don't necessarily like it.
I know.
But it'll provide me the freedom to do what I want in life. So if that's a few years of grinding and working hard and figuring myself out, that's leaning into discomfort and then providing myself that outlook of, I have all this area that I can go to.
Right.
What do I want to do?
And it's really applicable to everything in life. For example, athletics. For example, being a basketball player, you gotta be in tip-top shape. Conditioning is fun. It's not fun at all. But if you're not in shape, you can't fucking play.
I bet when you're on that court though and everybody's screaming your name, you feel like, that work that I put in, it's paying off.
If you're not in shape, you can't play. Or
grades aren't good, you can't play.
Exactly. If you don't get your grades, you can't play. It's the same thing across the board.
Eating healthy,
getting diet,
everything.
Everything, bro. It's applicable to all areas of life.
The same thing with work too. People grow up, get jobs. If you're not working, if you're not sleeping, eating, drinking water, all those things. It's really broad and kind of cliche. Again, I think it's really important.
Yeah.
So I want to take a step back. You were talking about your parents' divorce and how that was a rough time for you. In those times, was basketball a safe spot for you? Was that where you kind of dealt with your emotions the best you could?
Yeah, I feel like I played soccer at the time too, so I feel like sports was just in general just the area where I can escape, that family dynamic, where I can escape that hurt and that pain. But until I really confronted it, confronted it with myself, I couldn't really progress past it. I was just running away from it at that point. Until I confronted my feelings about my parents' divorce and about just where I was headed in life, I couldn't really progress past that point. So, yes, it was a place where I liked to escape, but again, I had to do some internal work on myself and my mental to enjoy the sport even more, I'd say.
Yeah. And outside of your life, I want to ask you this question, because I like asking everybody this, is I feel like every person you meet on a daily basis has some sort of baggage.
Yeah.
And some people are working on that, other people aren't. But for that person that is just starting to realize that, I have to work on this.
Yes.
What advice would you give them from someone that has worked on past baggage?
I would just say that, we already talked about this point before. I just, it don't rain forever. It's really important that we understand that. Because tough times are going to be tough times. Life is suffering in itself. Life is suffering. From the minute you're born, you're dying.
Yeah.
And you suffer headaches, you suffer toothaches, you suffer, whatever injuries you have, and you go through life and you suffer your negative feelings, but you find the reasons in life that's worth the suffering. Family, friends, whatever religion you're in, just whatever it is you want to find to replace that suffering. That's what makes it worth it.
And I think one thing that's very important about that too is through that process you find enjoyment in the outcome.
Yes.
And like you're talking about that discipline of like, waking up early and going to practice, but then after it feeling like, you know what, it's 7 a.m. I just worked for 2 hours. I feel great.
We practiced at 7:30 a.m. my whole time in college. A lot of teammates don't want to practice at 7:30 a.m. My coach understands that if you have this discipline now, it's going to set you up for later years in life. And just the skill of, just the discipline of waking up and doing what needs to get done. It needs to get done first, and then having the whole day.
So where'd you find that discipline?
I mean, I didn't always have it. I'd say I still don't have it in some regards, and I'm still working on that discipline now. But I mean, for basketball, I established that discipline. You know what I'm saying? For school, I've established that discipline. Those are the areas where I was putting the most work into myself, and that's why I was a student athlete here. It's school and basketball. But I just say that it's hard to really establish a discipline if you don't want it for yourself.
So before we get to college, I just wanted to kind of wrap up high school first,
Yeah.
so we can kind of see what you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
before we get to that, I was wondering, do you have an idol, like a basketball person you look up to when you're playing up?
I'm from Los Angeles.
Lakers.
So Kobe.
Okay. I like them. Don't like
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Well, I'm from LA, so
Yeah, no.
I'm a Laker fan. I believe purple and gold. Watching Kobe, when I was growing up, I hated LeBron at the time. Hated him. I love LeBron now, but I hated him at the time. And
Yeah, I went away.
Nah, it was really when Kobe retired. I was like, okay, I have to watch something else now. Like, I can't just watch old Kobe games.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I might as well watch the 2016 finals. That was the year Kobe retired, and I was in Virginia at the time with the top 100 camp, basketball camp, and the camp was being held at UVA, University of Virginia, and you're watching the finals on the big screen in the arena. I'm like, wow, this motherfucker's really good.
Yeah, game 7?
No, just like
Oh, the whole time? Yeah.
like the whole finals, and I was gonna watch them come back, and I'm like, wow.
No,
Like,
he's
it
different.
opened my eyes. I gotta give this man some flowers.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've been a fan ever since. What was the question again?
That's just what I wanted to ask. But going back to just before we get to college, like once you got your grades up and you were able to have that confidence start looking for college, what was your senior year like? Being able to look back on those educational struggles as well as why Boulder?
Well, my senior year. So let me give you a little background.
Yeah.
So I failed 9th grade. Played my second 9th grade year. Played sophomore year. Played junior year at Villa Park. Junior year at Villa Park. Senior year at Villa Park. You only play 4 years in college in high school. So your clock starts right away.
Yeah.
First year 9th grade, second year 9th grade, sophomore, junior. So my senior year, I didn't play. I did not play my senior year of high school.
Did you try to get around that, or was it just like a firm no?
We tried. We tried to appeal to the CIF foundation. We tried to, I don't know, it's a foundation, federalization. Yeah. We tried to appeal to them, and just like, yeah, hard upbringing, and this is where he is, and this is where he was, and we tried to pitch that progress.
At that point, you had the grades for it as well.
At that point, I had the grades, but just the 9th grade year, we just come back to home.
Yeah.
And sometimes
You must have learned that.
lesson learned. So, so I had a great junior year of high school. I made all first team Orange County, Double Park. It was a great year. You know KZ.
I'm not sure. But I do remember you guys beating us quite a little, which wasn't usual.
Yeah. Okay, so but anyway, I didn't play my senior year in high school, and that was the year that I was like, I knew why. My freshman year in high school, I didn't agree with it. I thought I should have played, but at that point, I had an option to stay there with my friends and my teammates and practice every day and still get better, just not play in actual games. And or I can leave and start over, just start over. And I eventually made the decision to stay. And that was kind of tough because when the news broke out that I wasn't even playing, my teammates was like, "Yo, Dad, like, tell me this isn't true." Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
And also, I mean, especially at that age, it's hard to put in that much work and not get the like weekly gratification of like the games.
yeah. So there's plenty of days where I'm like, why am I doing this? You know, I gained a lot of weight like that year as well, just because I wasn't playing the game. And not so much because I wasn't playing, just because like, mentally I was hiding behind the comfort of food making, or like the comfort of like not knowing like whether I'm gonna like be playing, like not knowing whether I'm gonna be. I signed for college. I committed to college that year. I committed here.
So how does that conversation go? I want to dive a little more deeper
Okay,
into that.
okay.
Are you looking at other schools other than Colorado?
Okay, so following my junior year of high school, I had about 25 offers.
Wow.
So 25 official offers.
How many of them are you going?
Huh?
How many of them are you
Oh,
going?
all do one.
Oh.
So my first offer came 2015 Christmas time, Christmas tournament. Cal State Fullerton. They offered me an Elliott LMU followed that. So that was cool. My mom taught LMU.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
And that option is stay local.
Yeah, the option to stay local for sure, big time. But so I had a couple more like those. I would consider those mid majors, low major, conferences teams. And I had a couple more, low majors and mid majors that offered me in. But that summer is where it really started to pick up. It really started to AAU time, playing junior division. My team was nice. We're pretty good. And I'm pulling in offers left and right now. And
Like a mail stack.
yeah. So in the summer, me and my family are deciding what visits to take. So ultimately, we chose. We visited here first, Miami, and Purdue. So that was, Pac-12, SEC, Big Ten. So those were my 3 visits. I had them all set in stone, and I loved it. I loved the experience of taking visits. That's where I really started to like wow, college basketball really excites me now. Like,
I think what's cool is like, correct me if I'm wrong, but those 3 campuses I feel like have a different vibe too. Very different vibe. So you get to see like before you even go into college, you get to see like, oh, okay, this is how school could be, or this or that. It opens your eyes.
And they treat you like a superstar.
Yeah.
Watching from the school.
Right.
So.
Right. So I visited here first, and that was amazing. Obviously I'm here, so it had to be somewhat enjoyable. But it was real cool. I left my visit here saying to my friends and family, I was like, it's gonna be hard to beat. I don't care if I'm going. Miami was my number 1 option at the time. I'm like, wow, I couldn't even imagine Miami being good in this, and it wasn't. It's a different culture, man.
So what stood out to you here?
I feel like just like it's college town. College town was cool. But the people,
I agree.
the people, bro.
People are happy.
People, bro.
I don't know why. It's 300 days of sunshine. I don't know what it is.
I don't even know either. But
Like
like,
they're way nicer compared to Orange
well, they're
County.
so nice
Yeah.
here. They're so nice. And I'm like,
Well, they like to do as mayors.
I guess. But like this, like I was like the reason I'm like this. I can really like get behind this. I can really like see myself living here because people are just so nice here. So full of character and just wholesomeness, and it's hard to find that anywhere else.
Yeah. Especially for this time where we are growing so much and like you having this career in basketball, it's cool that you're able to look outside and be like, you know what, this outside of just the basketball, this is a city where I can grow as a person. I can learn from the people around me, and especially with the nature around us, like it's a self-growth area. At least I feel like
it's breathtaking. And being from Los Angeles, like I kind of had a feeling, like I kind of was used to like Miami's lifestyle. It wasn't really enticing for me because I was already used to it. And Miami had its own, every school is gonna have benefits and drawbacks to going to each You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
pluses and negatives to everything. So,
Purdue didn't make it that high?
no, Purdue was my second choice.
Oh.
Miami dropped from third after I went.
Right.
No, I didn't like Miami. I like the coach, I like the players, but I didn't like the facilities. I didn't like how it's a private school. People don't know that. It's a private school. It's a really small school. It's like 10,000 people, probably. At the school, 11,000 undergrad. So I'm like, whoa. I thought it was like, I thought it was you. I thought it was supposed to be,
It's like 2 Villa Parks. That's
yeah, I thought it was like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like completely shocked. I'm like, whoa. And I was okay, well, maybe I can enjoy this. And the campus was cool, but it was enclosed. And it was like, had a gate, like this gated campus. And like, you know, like, it was like here is more free, you know.
And that's the other thing so when I visited Boulder, I was sold on it too. So I never wanted to stay in California. I love California, but I was like, I want to get out. I want to feel that like difference, meeting new people, things like that.
Right.
Coming here, especially going on the campus, seeing that like brick, and then looking up there and just seeing the flat irons is crazy.
The first time I saw the flat irons, I was like, oh, whoa.
yeah. And then even living here for like 3 years, I mean, I opened the door and it's still mind blowing to me that they're literally like in our backyard, basically, like right there.
Yes.
I still don't even know if we appreciate it. I'm from Denver, so I like every time I need a direction, I know where west is. You know, it's that kind of thing.
Right.
So when I leave, I'm like, wait, hold on, where am I looking? So I think that's another thing about Boulder people don't realize is we have these mountains, and I don't think we use them enough. Looking at them and seeing them is awesome. But man, hiking, biking, just going for walks, and just enjoying this place is awesome.
Yeah, it's a vacation spot. We live here.
I feel like I always fancy Boulder as like summer camp, kind of.
It'd be a crazy summer camp.
It really is like summer camp though.
Yeah.
All you do is go to school and have fun here.
Yeah.
That's really it. It's like summer camp.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like it's like no other place like it.
Yeah.
You know.
So looking back at that process where you were talking to coaches and going visiting, you already had that. I may not be able to play senior year in the back of your mind, right?
Yep.
So kind of being able to, connect that to like the mental health conversation we're having. What is it like knowing that you have something that you don't really want to share, but that people want something from you? Does that make sense?
It's gonna come out eventually.
Right, but like that, the anxiety that you're feeling that like, oh, they might find this out and not want me, or and I feel like this extrapolates to all aspects of life. Like people might have a heart condition or something like that.
Right.
So I just want to know what that feel.
I didn't even know I was gonna not be able to play until like probably I'd say like April or May of my junior year. And that's when we appealed the decision. That's when we appealed to the CIF, like allowed me to play, and that got denied. And at that point, it was a thing in my recruitment. And once I committed to Colorado on my birthday,
that's awesome.
December 27th.
Which birthday? 20th,
18th.
18th.
That was a good one. December 27th.
I bet.
My coaching staff really helped me.
High school?
Yeah, no, my college.
Oh, okay.
Before I committed, I didn't sign yet, but I committed. And they were checking on me every day, like, how's Evan doing? How you practicing? Doing how you practice and all that. And, because I had to still keep up my grades, because I had to raise my cumulative GPA from my high school to, I think it's 2.3 to be eligible to play in college. You have to have at least 2.4, something like that.
I think I saw Jordan post when I was going out. I never saw that. It was like 2.3 to play.
Yeah, something like that. But
and did they help you with that when it came to like school and stuff like that, academics specifically?
I mean, at that point, I was already like, my head was screwed on straight. At that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to college.
Man, that must have felt amazing. All that struggle, you're fun. You're gonna do it. You're gonna get to that college spot.
Right. Well, my assistant coaches here at Colorado were constantly calling my principal, my vice principal at my high school at Little Park, like, hey, how's the grades? Like, is it good? Like, I'm like, coach, I got it. Like, but yeah.
So coming here, you're playing basketball most of your senior year. It kind of seemed like keeping your grades up and just practicing. You get here. I'm assuming you come in the summer, right? You guys start practicing early. Yeah, you guys move into the dorms, or
June.
yeah, they put you up somewhere. So what was that like? You know, like new place again, but feeling like a big man. You know, like you're not coming somewhere and you are eating a lot and you're hiding behind this guilt and fear of your parents of being apart, or like you're coming here feeling like I'm like getting paid to go to school, free education.
Yep.
So what was that mindset? What was the difference? You know, like approaching that uncomfortable situation, having been there before, and with confidence.
Well, I'll tell you this. I graduated June probably 15th or 16th from high school. I was in Boulder June 17th. So, not that long after I graduated. And we started to work out and all that. And it's just different. Like, the schedule is different. The you don't have to, like, go home. Like, you're, like, living alone almost.
Yeah.
Like you're your own boss. You have to make decisions for yourself. You have to, you know what I'm saying? And it's all on you. You know, instead of it being dad take me to practice,
Yeah.
like mom take me to, you know what I'm saying? Like it's on you to go, and it's on you to do things you need to do. And
Did you struggle with that, or was it like because you
At
were
that
playing
point,
the team?
yeah, at that point, I really struggled with that. But it was just so like different. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's like being on a team where you have a goal now, and you have a goal, and you contribute to that goal every day. You know, in your work, in your contributions to the team, and to the mental, to the chemistry of the team, just everything like that. And the locker room was good. Just you just get so familiarized really fast, being in the locker room and spending so much time in the locker room and spending so much time on the court together. And in the summertime, especially in Boulder, like, I wouldn't say it's not anything to do, but it's not like,
Not as much as
it's not like the students are all deck. So
Yeah. So
you're
they
kinda-
turn it down to 6. Kind of.
right. And you're kind of like leaning on each other, like, just for like fun and like for just having a good time. And like, that's where like the bond really starts. And that's when it's like, wow, this is really fun.
Yeah, and I think having that mix of kids that are just entering with you, feeling that same comfort, but also having the mentorship from older people that
Yes.
are always surrounded by you
Yes.
is very important. Like very, very important.
Yes.
So you move in, and everybody else starts to come. What was that? Like 2 months later, July,
Yeah,
August.
yeah.
So it's around
August.
there.
Actually, we went to Italy that year. So
Oh,
yeah. So we went. So I came in like June, mid-June. We practiced for about till like July 5th or 6th. I went home for a couple of weeks. I had to be back August 1st to go play in Italy. But at this point, when I first stepped on the campus, I'm probably 295.
yeah.
Hey, boy, I didn't play senior year of high school. I had a lot of my pain behind food. Had a lot of my pain behind just eating, snacking, all that shit. Like, just not really being healthy because I had the pain of not playing, like the almost embarrassment of not playing. Just like. I look back on that time and I'm like, wow, I wish you they had somebody in your corner, like, telling me stuff, like, it's all gonna be alright.
Yeah.
It feel dark.
You just get scared, like, you just kind of like, everybody looking at you. My team had a good run that year, my high school team. Went to CIF finals, lost that. Won regionals, state, we lost in the state championship. And all this time, I'm like on the bench. I'm coaching. I'm a coach.
Right? You're in your slacks.
I'm a part of the coaching staff. I'm in slacks. I'm in polos. I'm in dress shoes. Like, I'm a part of the coaching staff.
Yeah.
I was that role all year. I was a player coach, but I wouldn't treat it like on the court. I would treat it like I was a player coach. But off the court, I didn't treat it like I was playing. I would eat whatever I wanted because I wasn't playing. I would just. I didn't feel like what I did really mattered.
Yeah.
And only time I felt like I mattered was I was with my teammates, with, my guys, and helping them, whatever it was, get rebounds for them or passing to them, or whatever it was. But outside of that, I didn't feel like what I didn't matter. So at that point, just like, damn.
And do you feel like that year of sitting on the bench being that player coach, now when you look at your highlights at CU, you can see how you're uplifting the other players. You're getting them better, not only yourself.
That's where I learned it.
Really? Do you think that's
It's humbling. Yeah.
I mean, I needed that loss, and I needed that perspective. That was honestly a perspective shift for me. Now I think it was sort of like a coach. 'Cause I was listening to my coach the whole time. I was on the bench. I was in the meetings with my coach. I was in the meeting with the coaching staff. I was with the meetings with we're game planning for other team. Just all those things that you don't really do as a player. I was doing it as a coach. I'm like,
seeing both sides?
So I'm as far as perspective, I can understand a lot more perspectives. I've been in a situation where I had to understand a lot more perspectives.
And so when you came in to CU, right, how was that team chemistry? Was that bond right away? Were you like, did you merge with them right away and be like, you know what, let's grow together, let's do that, like you are now, like your last few years?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always gonna have a connection with my teammates. That's the kind of guy I am. I love my teammates to death. And they know that, and I feel like they love me too. And that's never been an issue. But the family aspect of my team wasn't right off the bat. It was real cliquey at times. And it was real freshman hanging with the freshmen. The seniors hanging with the seniors. They went to the bars. They did whatever they wanted to do. Sophomores with the sophomores. And they only had one junior that year. So
He's probably with the seniors, hopefully.
yeah, he was the seniors, but he was more on his own.
Yeah.
And it was just like a whole bunch of cliques.
Right.
And some people, merge throughout different cliques and they can, jump across cliques. Like Kelly and Tyler, they hang out with seniors, and I'm just with the shot on it, just chilling. But
how was that for you? Was that a struggle being like having those cliques, or for you was it just like, you know what, this is it?
I thought that was how college was.
Normal.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's on a different boat. Everybody doesn't have the exact same goal. I mean, obviously the team goal is the same goal, but as far as the personal goal, it's just like, it's not the exact same. The seniors are gonna do seniors, and I'm gonna do me, and I'm gonna just hang out with my friends and Deshaun and our friends as well. And that was pretty cool. I mean, that's when I ventured outside of basketball and really got to have other friends outside of basketball. And that's important, by the way. Having friends outside of your normal everyday work situation is really important. But I thought that's how it was. And I'd say the year after that is where now we only have one senior, because the junior was now a senior. And we're a group of like 4 sophomores. No, I was a sophomore then, so I didn't play that year. My freshman year. I didn't mention this. I didn't play that year because of ninth grade. So essentially, I didn't end up fully being eligible for college basketball. I was admitted to the University of Colorado as a partial qualifier.
Is this 2017?
2017. Yep. Partial qualifier. So it means you can go to school, but we need to see how you can go be in the classroom first before you can actually play.
So essentially like a red shirt, kind of. Or was it officially a red shirt?
Yeah, that was a red shirt, but it was a forced red shirt.
Right.
It wasn't a choice. I had red shirt, and we actually tried to appeal that decision before the Italy trip. We tried to appeal that and be like, dude, he's grown so much from his freshman year of high school to where he is now. Like, he's gonna play. And NCAA said, no, I'm not gonna let you play. I have to show us. I showed them. I had like a 3.5 my freshman.
That's awesome, man.
My freshman semester, my first semester here.
That's hard, right out of high school.
I mean, I was, I knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the decision got denied in August, and the news broke out about it in October. So when the season was about to start, and at that point, I've already known for 2 months. So everybody calling me like, "Oh, that was such bullshit." I'm like, "It is what it is."
Yeah.
You've already been looked over that.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's cool.
So, kind of taking those 2 months, right? Or just the entire semester, right? So, you kick ass in school,
Yeah.
but take yourself out of basketball, right?
Yeah.
Like, remove basketball from this thought. Like, what was that semester like? You know, like, you are 6'8", pushing 300 at that point. You probably lost some weight at this point.
Woo! We got lost some weight.
Right, but you're still 6'8", and
Yeah.
at Boulder, you know, there's not a ton of black people.
Yeah.
So, it's like, what was that like, just being a student? Especially because you weren't even playing games. Like,
Yeah.
how was your mental health? How, just kind of talk about that, you know? 'Cause
Honestly,
I think like for people to relate to
And
that.
the
Yeah.
diversity compared to California.
Yeah. Honestly, bro, I think it was good. Like, I was just so immersed. Like, the semester starting, like, everybody's around now. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, this is like summer camp, like
Yeah.
times 100. Like, this is cool. Like all these students, all these freshmen, like freshman years also the funnest time.
I agree. The
Honestly,
dorms are crazy.
Bro, the dorm life, everybody's in the same situation. Everybody's in the same pile of shit.
This kid was the first kid I met in Boulder.
We're
He was my roommate.
Oh,
freshman
okay.
year, and
Yeah.
Yeah, when I moved here, and then we still friends to this day,
Yeah.
starting to company now. So
Yeah.
I agree, man. Freshman year is where you meet those friends, where
Yeah.
you learn yourself.
Where you meet your lifelong friends.
Yeah.
It's just like, it was just so fun. And at that point, I was already like I said, I was already had the academic part of it down. So
Yeah.
I was already like studious enough where I could, have my work done and have fun doing it too.
So you had that balance.
I had that balance. And
Where did that come from, though? Because at least for me, and I feel like a lot of freshmen struggle with this,
Yeah.
finding that balance of work and play.
Yeah. I feel like just sometimes you get so much enveloped in the play that you don't really, realize what the work has to look like. Like for me, I was like, I've always been the opposite around. I've been playing, but like in my middle school, high school days, like I'm play, but not any academics. And I had the perspective already, so I came into college like, okay, I have to get this done. I have to get these grades. I have to, you know what I'm saying? And I had like a 3.2 cumulative my whole time here, but it's like I had to do it.
But also the balance of taking time off. So both academics and basketball is work, right?
Yeah.
That's when you're fully head on, strong, grinding.
Right.
But you definitely take some time off.
Oh, yeah.
So how'd you figure that out too?
Honestly, bro, it's just like everybody has 24 hours in a day. Like that's the only thing. I feel like that's one of the only things that makes us all equal. We all have 24 hours in a day, and what you do with it is entirely dependent on you. Entirely dependent on you. And at that point, I was just like, okay, I have this. I practice at 7 in the morning each morning. Finish at 10. Have class until 4. I can do schoolwork from 4 to 7 and still have time to go with my friends or just do whatever I need to do. And at that point, I'm just like, I kind of had that balance and I kind of had the understanding of, I had to do what I have to do so I can do what I want to do. And my mom, it finally registered in my head. My mom's famous quote.
And that's when the habits are kicking in, the
Exactly.
discipline, the time management.
Exactly.
So I guess what I was gonna say was, you're doing all this stuff, and you have your distractions, right? Like you're doing what you want to do.
Right.
But we all know there's a lot of people that made it one semester or 1 year because the things they wanted to do came before the things they needed, right? So it doesn't last,
Right.
because the things you want to do end up being a coping mechanism for the things you have to do that you're not doing.
Right.
So
And also that emotional baggage that when you talk about distraction, that like you want to go out, you want to go drink, you want to go do this because you're not thinking about all these big goals and how I'm going to get there, or
Right.
all the stuff you went through in the past,
Right.
and how continue is that.
I mean, that's about all I had. I was just wondering, like, what dorm were you in, and did you see that around a lot? And how did that impact you coming
So-
from a place where you didn't value academics?
Right.
To see it again, you're like, damn, I'm glad that's not me. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad I got my shit straight.
Yeah.
So,
I was in Kids Central.
it's,
My freshman year, AC, it was a newer dorm at that point, so it was really pretty cool. And right next to the gym, like 2 minute walk to the gym, and I've seen some teammates, I've seen some people in athletics struggle, with the student athlete part of athletics, the student part of it, and I remember now when I was me. That was the thing I didn't want to happen to me again. So that was kind of like my deterrence from that.
right.
I didn't want that to happen to me again because my 9th grade year affected me for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Even that next level of your
Even in
career,
college,
exactly,
it affected me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I did not want that again for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And so one thing I want to talk about, which most people don't know, now 2017 was a very tough year for you, but I feel like a very impactful year for you.
Yes.
Not only like with the academics, finding the balance, things like that, but also when it comes to your health.
Right.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Woo. So, day after Christmas,
Yeah.
I'm at home.
Okay.
So, my team is. So, because I was redshirting that year, because they didn't say for me to, my coach, granted me to go home for a longer period of time than my other teammates.
They get 12 for Christmas, though.
They didn't go on Christmas for 3 days.
Right.
I was there. I was there like 2 weeks. So, after Christmas, we had a good Christmas. Day after Christmas, me and my friends, he's like, all right, let's go play some basketball. We always went to 24. Let's go play. And I was, playing with him, dribbling the ball. I just couldn't feel myself dribbling. Okay, it's weird. It's weird. Like I always dribble. Like, what the hell? And at that point, I was like, okay, maybe let's just sit down and have some water or something. So I sat down. I couldn't get back up. So at this point, my whole right side is done. I fell asleep. Can't control it. Like I can't move it. So I couldn't talk either because when a stroke happens on the left side of your brain, it affects and crosses over, and the right side of your brain is shut down, and that's also with the speeches as well as the left side. So it was just like at this point, it's like me playing charades with my friends. Like then okay, what's wrong? Like, are you having a heart attack? Are you having I'm like couldn't talk. So at that point, we called my mom. My friends called my mom, and my mom took me to the AR, and they said you're having a stroke. I'm like,
How long was that?
I probably
the moment you sat down and the moment you got to the ER.
probably 25 minutes.
Gotcha.
My mom works probably 10, 15 minutes from where I was playing basketball, and probably another 10-minute drive to the hospital. Yeah. So at this point, I'm like, I go to the little doctor's office. They went to the ER. They drill me in. And you having a stroke. I'm like, whoa. I can't talk, but I'm thinking old people have strokes, not young people.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, the possibility of dying has to be on the table right here because I know people who have died from strokes. So at this point, I'm like, not even crying. I'm just so scared. I'm just paralyzed. And,
Shock.
Yeah, I'm in shock. Honestly. And they gave me this strong drug called TPA, breaks up blood clots in the brain, and they transferred me to the stroke center. On the way to the stroke center, I had a seizure. I had a seizure when I got there to the stroke center. Two seizures. One in the ambulance. I honestly, the only thing I can remember is in telling my mom to not follow her through the red lights in the ambulance. Telling my mom not to follow her through the red lights. And I'm laying on my back in the gurney stretcher thing, and I can see out the rear view. I can see my mom following them through the red lights. She didn't care.
How do you tell a mom that? Yeah.
Big boy.
Yeah.
She don't care. I mean, how could she?
Yeah.
So, I had a stroke. I had a seizure in in the ambulance, and I had a seizure when I got to the stroke center in front of my family. So that was tough on them, just seeing your little boy, going through it. At this point, I'm like the most in shape I've ever been. I've dropped 50 pounds.
Right.
So I'm like 250, 255.
Yeah. So, in conjunction with this happens to old people, not young people, it's like this also happens to unhealthy people.
Yes.
I'm healthy.
I just spent all this time fucking grinding my ass off.
Yeah.
Like,
You're just like, why? Like, why?
I lost so much weight, like, in 3-4 months?
Yeah.
Like, I just was grinding. I did it for myself, though. I did it for my ability to just play and move and go up and down the court. And I just remember, wow, it was like weird because I'm like the most in shape I've ever been in my life, and it just felt like ironic, almost.
So what happened after that? You're in the center and the doctors come in.
So yeah, I mean, after I had my seizures, I was good. I was in there for 4 days, 3 nights. So not that long. Not like.
I don't know how stressed.
I don't know the duration.
That seems long to me.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
still a rough time.
Yeah. But I would picture, a longer stay. I feel like.
And were you able to talk though and move and things like that?
No. I was able to move. I got some of my feeling back in my arms and my legs and all that, but the speech was not there at all. And
That must have been a struggle.
especially because me being so. We want to give you a little backstory. At Boulder Park, my second high school, the year I didn't play, I ended up winning prom game because at that point I'm like a fan favorite. Not a fan favorite, but I've won over the hearts of people at my school. You know what I'm saying? Just because of my selflessness. I'm in the gym with my teammates every day, even though I'm not playing. I'm just so supportive of my teammates, and I'm just.
Like give you more time to do off the work as well.
Yeah.
Involved in high school stuff.
Right. Just an ultimate team guy. I'm at the football game. I'm just everywhere.
Right.
And I'm just totally immersed in into the social life. Totally different from the year before when I didn't know anybody.
Right.
So that was completely 180, and just I have so many friends now signed up winning prom
You
game.
had a really big impact that year.
Yeah.
I told you this. I used to run the student section, so we used to hear about these are the VP people. We gotta keep an eye on these guys, and your name would always pop up. So you definitely did make a big impact.
And I remember us playing at Canyon that year, and the year I didn't play. He can't play. He can't. I'm like, okay, fuck it.
Yeah.
My team's beating your ass. I don't even care.
Referee meeting.
Yeah, I ended up dancing on their floor, hitting all these moves on their
You
floor.
can't put me on the spot.
Hey, fuck that.
Right on the logo.
No, right on the logo. We had a big ass hype circle. We just turned up on their home court.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were rival high school.
No, those rivals were. It was intense.
We were rival high schools. So it was just emotions were at a all-time high.
Cops would always be out there.
Yeah. The cops anticipating a fight.
Everybody would go to In-N-Out afterwards to fight
Ooh,
there.
those were some good times. Just the rivalries that was there. But anyway, so I ended up winning over the hearts of my student body. And where was that? What was the question?
We're circling back around. So the struggle with you not being able to speak.
Oh yes. So at this point, I'm really well known. I'm really popular at this per se. Yeah, popular.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I talk a whole lot. I mean, not obnoxious. Just hey, how you doing? All that. A really personal guy. And following the stroke, I couldn't talk. So it's my sense of self was completely removed. I didn't know how to
Express yourself very
express myself or just anything. I just my whole personality was kind of ripped away from me at this point. And that was a struggle in itself because how do you the same? How do you continue on? When your identity is taken away from you.
Right, but I think something that's really important with that is like people that can't play sports anymore, or people that start to fail in academics. It's a really steep slope because you amplify that part of your personality so much.
Yeah.
Right? Like you felt like that was all you were to
Yeah.
other people, but at the end of the day, that's just a small part of it that you
Right.
love about it.
Right.
So when you're recovering and you can't speak, you're thinking like, oh, nobody's gonna fuck with me anymore. Like,
Right.
I'm gonna be a completely different person. Like people are like, oh, Evan can't talk. Like,
People are not
I guess I don't really want to hang out with
People
him.
are not gonna like you quiet me.
Right, but
Yeah.
it's just not the case.
Yeah.
Like, with everyone,
Yeah.
like if you're the person that's really good at school and you start to fail at school, you think that nobody's gonna like you because you're that guy.
Yeah.
But there's so many more aspects to someone, and they tend to put themselves in these like really tight knit bubbles.
Right.
That they think just pop.
Right. So after that, it took me a little bit to like. I remember after my stroke, I had my stroke day after Christmas. So my team knocks off Arizona and Arizona State that same weekend in Boulder in basketball. So it number 4, number 13, respectively in the country. So we had a great weekend of college basketball. I didn't get to see it because I was in the hospital. And I was happy with my guys, and I saw the score. I'm like, cool, I couldn't talk. But, so then they went to Oregon for the Oregon games, and January 4th or 6th, they came out to LA. Like probably 8 days after my stroke. So at this point, I'm doing all these exercises with my mom, just like regain basic syllables in my speech, like just basic like ma, pa, like all those. And so my team stayed on Wilshire by UCLA. I went to the hotel. Just because my mom called my coach and gave him the rundown, and my coach was pretty beat up about me having a stroke.
Is this Boyle?
Yeah, pretty emotional about me having a stroke, and just wanted to see my face and just wanted me to see the team, let the team know that I was okay. So I walked in and I remember like yesterday, bro.
How did that feel?
So weird because they're used to me always like running my mouth. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't talk, and I'll never forget. So we were about to go shoot around. I'm still veteran, and I'm not really on the trip. I'm just in LA because LA is my home. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's kind of happened across
it's
paths.
happened.
Yeah. Would you still have been home at this point, or would you be with the team?
I would be.
Like, were you supposed to go home already, or they extended?
I was supposed to go back to Colorado
Yeah.
at this point, but I had a stroke.
Right.
I was supposed to go back for the Oregon to help them prepare for the Oregon State games. I was on the scout team.
Yeah.
So we're in LA, but I go shoot around. I couldn't ride the bus because I'm not on the trip officially. So my coach, God bless that man, he we called a taxi. Me and him going to USC's gym, Galen Center. Just me and him in the car. And
how were your motor skills at this point? Did you?
I can like run and shoot, but I couldn't talk. Like,
So were you playing during this time a little bit, like shooting around a little bit?
yeah, I was. Like, when I got to shoot around, I was shooting. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like when they were doing their like plays and walkthroughs, I was shooting around like I'm
Silent.
just silently,
Yeah.
like not any words, but just shooting.
Vegas green, you're like,
Yeah. But at this point, my coach called a taxi, and he was like, "Yeah, like hear me out. You don't have to say anything. Like I know like it's hard for you right now, but like you don't have to play basketball to remain on scholarship. Like you can just go to school, and while you have your scholarship. I want to honor that. You've been so selfless, and you've been integral to what we're trying to do here in Colorado. And it just, at that point, it's just like to hear that from my coach, to hear that I don't have to play, was like reassuring, that I wanted to play. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all I wanted to do was I've been here.
Yeah, the same thing with being multifaceted, right? Like
Right.
they value you beyond just your
Right.
athletic ability.
Right. And I mean, it's been 2 years since I played at this point because I didn't play senior high school, I didn't play freshman in college. So I'm like, so I just want to play. Like, I want to say that, but I can't. And
Were you writing? Were you like texting?
nah, I mean, I had like a little board, like whiteboard, like throughout the house, but like I wouldn't take that shit like out in public. Like, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing to me at the point. So,
Looking back on that, do you feel differently? Like, do you feel like you probably should have done it or would have done it? Or it's not a big deal.
nah, I feel like I need that.
Well, you were just still the freshman on the team.
I attempted to talk, but I just couldn't talk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you can't really, trial and error is huge. Like, that's how we live life. Like, that's how you progress in life. Like, you gotta try and you gotta fail, and eventually you'll get it.
Right.
And, I mean, if I wasn't trying to talk at that point, I don't know if I'll be talking to you guys today. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I needed to try, and fail. Yeah, and just that trip, at UCLA, USC, was big for me because just come off a stroke, it's just like I'm immersed in my team again. Thank God they're in California. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to the games, I'm at the practices. It's just it was just so lucky to be able to hear in California at the same time I was.
So before you met with your team, what were you thinking in your head? Like, what were you worried about? Were you worried, like, I'm not gonna play basketball again? Am I not gonna be able to speak again? Like
that was more so the speaking part. Like, I mean, because I shot around and stuff. Like, I was walking fine. I can jog a little bit. I can do any movements I wanted to. Like, not with that same power, but like some sort of power. But the speech was like the most like beautiful part.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, this is gonna be like the most drastic change because they're used to me speaking a lot, and that was hard to get over.
I mean, also, but outside of like basketball, outside of your teammates, like when you look at yourself in your day-to-day life, like you just had this really close encounter to that.
Yeah.
How does that change your outlook on life in the macro perspective?
First of all, I'm grateful for every day I wake up. Simply put, every day is a blessing. And I really didn't have that perspective until I had my stroke. Like, wow. We're not promised tomorrow. And none of us are. And it is just like, you can't go through life thinking you have time. Because you don't. You don't know what's going to happen today or tomorrow or the next day. And that was the most important part for me, just realizing how grateful I am and to still have all the things I have, even though I had a stroke. You know what I'm saying? I have 2 legs to walk on. I have 2 arms to shoot. I have, working eyes, working ears, working nose. Like, you know what I'm saying? I have plenty of things to be grateful for, even though I had a stroke.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, okay, I find comfort in gratefulness.
I think it's really powerful. I think it's a lot of people say that, and I think it goes by the wayside. But understanding like perspective and then being grateful for that perspective is intangible.
Perspective is everything, bro.
You can't teach it. It's just life. It's just every day you wake up and you learn things.
In a situation like that, like he's saying, like you can't teach it. You didn't know you were gonna have the stroke. It just happens
It just
to you, and
happens.
your perspective shifts like majorly.
Oh,
And that's why I'm asking these questions, because like that affects your mental so much, your outlook on life and the way you treat people, the way you move forward. So how was that? Like after you had that meetup with your team in LA, what was that recovery process like, and where was your head at?
yeah. So at this point, directly following the UCLA USC games in LA, I went back to school.
With the team? Or
Yeah. I mean, not with the team, but yeah, like that weekend, like maybe they played on Saturday. I went back to school on probably Sunday. So at that point, it was just like it's time to recover. You know, it's time to get back to. And the doctor was telling my mom, like, you might want to consider, holding him off from school for a little bit and keeping him here for his recovery, for his therapy. My mom was like, "The hell with that! Like, he's going back to school.
Yeah.
He needs to be around his teammates. He needs to be around people with the same goals as him. He needs to be around. He can't stay here, out of here, just me every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, work. Like, it just wasn't the right situation for me. And she had the forethought and the foresight to send me back to school. And she came out there with me and made sure I was good. And so I had 3 classes that semester.
Like,
Yeah, light workload. I couldn't really read that well. I couldn't talk. So took sign language. I forgot the other 2 classes.
was that? Were you already taking sign language?
No.
Oh, so that was kind of a direct result.
Yeah.
Can you sign now?
Nah, I forgot it all.
Okay, there.
Obviously, I can talk it now.
Yeah.
So,
How long did the not being able to talk last?
I mean, I'd still say it's today. I mean, like some stuff I pronounce wrong. And I mean that's everybody. But I'm harder on myself than most other people are on me.
Right.
But I've noticed it. And other people don't notice it at all.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me. Like, just not like I talk to people and they're like, "You had a stroke?" I'm like, yeah. Like, I can hear it. You probably can't. But
I will say this: I watched a few interviews of you when it was closer to the days of the stroke,
Yeah.
and the improvement that you have is, I mean, insane. It's you're doing amazing. But I do also have to say is, when your mom was in that situation of like keeping him with me or sending him back to school, that takes a very strong woman and mother to be like, you know what? No, I'm gonna let my baby, my kid, go out there and figure it out, and I'll help him, but he needs to be out there doing it and figuring it out.
yeah.
And that's honorable because a lot of people do not have the strength to do something like that.
Right. In reality, being at home probably wasn't the best for me as far as my recovery, because my
Covers it.
my recovery was just all like through athletics, like that's my physical therapy directly,
Your own motivation, being with
Yeah.
the team again,
Yeah.
being like, I want to be there. We're doing it every
Right.
single day. They're working, I'm working. It's
yeah.
the whole environment.
Right. So I would just like I would just say like I was going to physical therapy. Physical therapy was connected to the school. The same physical therapist that was massaging Achilles' shoulder or whatever was helping me with my stroke, helping me with my recovery. And that's speech therapy over there at Pitt Central in the speech, language, and hearing sciences. That's why I do my speech therapy. And right next door. You know what I'm saying? Like I can be provided that in California. Like I have to go travel however far to
Out of your own pocket too.
out of my own pocket. Like it just she had the foresight to like really think that through.
That's powerful. So I guess just to kind of clarify what I asked before, how long did it take for you to get to a point where you're like, I can speak
Yeah.
to other people?
Yeah.
Like I am a vocal person again. Because, it's ripped from you for a
I
while,
think so. Shortly after I joined the team, the team that had games at CU, and I was on the bench, and at some point they'd be like, "Bro, I'm just gonna talk. Like, I'm not gonna be afraid."
It's probably terrifying too.
Yes.
Well, I mean, they definitely gave you the benefit of that outlet. Because if you start fumbling over your words, they're not going to look stupid. It's
Right.
you're recovering.
Right.
So you
Right.
just have to go for it. You got
Right.
that leap of faith, everything you do.
Right. And what really helped me was my day in, day out life in the dorms with my teammates, McKinley, Tyler, and Sean.
Did you guys all live together?
Yeah.
Oh.
We had me and Sean were in one room, bathroom, me and McKinley, Tyler, McKinley in another room. So we had so much fun, bro. Just us four
Right.
every day.
I bet that was so important too because you didn't have that fear of like a random person. You could be vulnerable with.
I could be
like,
vulnerable with them, and they understood, and they just got me to the fullest.
And even when like not being able to speak, like trying, they see that you're putting in that effort, and they're there for you.
Right. So like, I mean, I recall thousands of times.
Siri wants to join the conversation. Alright, sorry about that.
Okay. I recall like just like there's so many times me messing up, fumbling over my words with Deshaun, because like that's my roommate, and like he doesn't care. Like he's allowing me the time to speak.
Right.
Kill me. Allow me the time to speak. Tyler, allow me the time to speak. And the whole team just allow me the time to mess up and correct myself and just fumble over my words and and they knew what I was going through. And that's a testament to those guys. And they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to, they could be like, stop. But they realized what I had to say was important.
Yeah.
Because I've had 2 years of sitting on the bench in perspective that they don't have.
Right.
And
It's also your personality, man. Like you're saying, the selflessness, the genuity, the personability, like all of those things. I feel like Jack was saying, we go do like when I go to school. I'm always thinking like, oh, I'm this student. I gotta get these grades. I gotta help this group this way. To do this, like build this for this group. But outside of that, people see you a lot more than that. Those small interactions. Like I'll say this. I met you a few nights ago, and I came up to you and I talked to you, and the one thing I noticed right away, and Enzo was there too. A few of my other friends were there too. You have this genuity and personability that it's very loving. It's very caring, and not a lot of people have that. And I think that's why when things happen to people like that are really good people, the world is right at your door to help you, and it's a beautiful thing. But that's a testament to you and your work and your efforts and becoming that person.
Right. So honestly, bro, I would say my recovery time. I told you freshman year is the most fun I ever had. I was in the midst of my stroke, and still the most fun I ever had. I was going to parties and not even saying trying to talk, but
Just vibing.
Yeah. And, trying to make it work. And conversate.
Yeah.
I was challenging myself every day. I got to a point where I was I don't want to live in fear. I just want to challenge myself every day to really talk and really just get out of my comfort zone. It's uncomfortable to talk when you don't know how to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's for me to learn and for me to progress in that sense, I have to talk. No matter how many times I fuck up and I fumble and I just mess up, I have to deal with it.
You have to get through that to get to here.
Right. So in that sense, and it was just speech therapy helped me, and I had do breathing exercises because my diaphragm was not as strong as it used to be, and that was hard. But in the physical part of it, my right side was weaker than my left side. I'm right-handed. I'm right-footed. So I had to regain all that strength. Through that, I calloused my mind. I just got mentally tougher.
Yeah.
That's really it.
But it always draws back to that initial moment, that breaking point you had when you were got held back. You were in that moment. It's you against the world in that moment, and you had every opportunity to give up and to say you know what, I'm just gonna kind of not do school. I'm gonna not play basketball, but being able to draw back on that comfort, especially when you can't even say anything. It is you against the world because you can't even communicate with someone even if you want to. Just in the interest of time and the fact that it's pretty hot in here, I just want to kind of move on a little bit. So you get to your sophomore year or your junior,
sophomore year now.
It's your second year.
Yeah.
You're getting ready to play. You're you're living in a house. You're out of the dorms. You're mostly being able ready to talk at this point, right? So just kind of walk us through that, revamping of confidence and ability
Also,
to
is
take
that person that when you walk into that court, that person must be very different from that person that left the court before the stroke.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. How are you different on and off the court, and also leadership-wise, person-wise, things like that?
Well, I'm minus 45 pounds, so
Yeah.
Did you put it back on after the stroke? Or?
I put 5 pounds more maybe. I got up to like 260, 265 maybe, and I stayed there. But you know, I was 290, 300 pounds. You know, so just losing that weight was good for me, and I went through 6 months of physical therapy, 6 months of speech therapy. So I started practicing, like just before we went home for the summer. So I hopped in, lots of workouts of my freshman year. I had heart monitors on me and all this test shit up, and you know, because they didn't want me to like have a stroke again.
Yeah.
So like,
was this the first time that you were like really getting after it since you were in the gym and the day after Christmas?
Yeah.
So that was probably pretty terrifying.
I was excited, bro.
Right, but like in that moment, you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen right now because
I wasn't even worried, bro. I'm like, I feel fine.
Yeah.
Like I feel fine.
all this stuff was just for precaution.
That's just for all precaution. And I mean, the speech wasn't where it wasn't where it needed to be. I mean, obviously, it takes time. But at that point, it's like I felt like athletically, I felt like my body, like health, was like good enough to like play. And like I'm going at my guys. Like I'm being competitive, and like I reached a certain heart rate, and my strength coach, Steve Englehart, would like sit me down, like, nah, Ev, like take a break. You know, I'm about to win the one-on-one series.
Right.
I'm not sitting down.
Yeah,
like
taking the court time.
Yeah, I'm not sitting down. Like I'm about to win this shit. Like and like we maybe like come to blows. Like like I'm so competitive.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sitting down, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to win. Like I didn't come all this way to like sit down.
Me back? No.
Yeah, I didn't come all this way to sit down. Like and I mean I should have listened, but I mean
you're so here, you know?
Yeah, I am. I'm hard headed. Like at that point, I'm like I just want to compete. You know, because I've been starving. I've been salivating for a competition for so long. You know what I'm saying? I haven't practiced since, you know, December 21st before the team left for Iowa.
Yeah.
So, like, I haven't practiced for 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm ready, bro.
Yeah,
Throw me in.
Yeah. Put me against my teammates.
Right.
So, you start playing. You get through your sophomore year, and you guys do pretty good, right? We're doing well.
Right.
I think we didn't get to Boulder until 2019.
Yeah. So,
just kind of talk me through that. You know, like those years.
So
I
that's
kind of feel like a flash.
Yeah.
Most people don't know he's leaving tomorrow.
Yeah,
so like
tomorrow.
this is your last send off. It's kind of cool. You can look back on all this, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just kind of talk us through those years because that must feel like a blur, but it also feels like it was yesterday. So
Yeah. So obviously that summer, this is now what 2018.
Yeah.
So 2018, I go home for the summer for a couple weeks in the summer. We get back by June. Go back in June. I have less restrictions on me than I was a month before when I was working out with the team. I still have my heart monitor on, but I have less restrictions. I don't have to have a break, and I don't have to have a break like every 5 minutes. So like, I can be in the competitions. I can be competitive. I can be aggressive, and I just started to just blossom into like this player. Like I haven't played for 2 years, so I'm just so thirsty for just
competition. That's not just yourself speaking.
Yeah, it's not exactly. Yeah. And this is a good summer. We finish summer workouts. I go home for the rest of the summer. We didn't have a foreign trip that year, so we don't have a foreign trip. You can stay home. So I reconvened with the team in August, and that was when we got back to work, and that fall we just all work, and our first exhibition game was against Mines that year. That was my first time playing in 2 years, and I was just like, I just remember being so nervous for the game because I haven't played in 2 years. Like I'm just like, I don't know what to expect.
Right.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I did fine. I started.
Evan, how'd you do? How are the emotions? How are you feeling?
Woo! Emotions were high. Emotions were really high.
That first shot, the first rebound, like all those things.
Yeah.
So weight off your chest.
Oh my God! first bucket was.
You're like, oh yeah, I still got it.
Like I can play. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then that finished, and I didn't start until probably the end, like February that year. So my first year playing, I didn't start with like the first 15, 17 games. Lucas Seward started, and then I ended up being inserted in the starting lineup at Washington. My first year playing, I didn't come out the starting lineup since.
This was 2018. Was Markel Fultz there at the time?
2018-19, so he's already gone. He's in the NBA.
Yeah.
So this is 2018-19. So we struggled that year. I mean, we were young. We only had one senior.
Right, like you said.
One senior, 3 juniors, 4 sophomores, my class, and then.
And that was before you guys lived together.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. So 4 sophomores, my class, and then at this point we had 4 freshmen: Benin, Eli Parquet, Dalen Kuntz, and Jacob.
Yeah, they went to my high school.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
in Reese?
Yeah, I went to Reese.
Okay. Cool. So at this point, we're young, we're struggling. You know, I mean, we have a great non-conference. We ended off pretty shitty. We went to Hawaii, didn't do hot. We went 1-2 in the Hawaii tournament, and we got some games early in conference. We got smacked at Arizona State. We lost by 40. Ooh, they were good though. They had Lou Dort, Zion Cheatham, Romelo White, Martin. They had some dudes. So.
Lou Dort's nice.
Oh yeah.
I like Lou.
Oh yeah. So, but I mean, at this point, February comes around, and ironically, I get inserted into the starting lineup, and we start taking off. We start playing our best basketball, and we reached the semifinals of the Pac-12 tournament against Washington. The T-Style killed us, defensively and offensively, but I just really where I started to like gain my confidence. I was starting at this point now, I just couldn't even fathom that I was a year ago, bro. I'm couldn't even talk.
In the
now,
ER.
And now I'm starting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Yeah.
a crazy.
It's crazy to think
Yeah.
about. And at the same time, I'm just grateful for it all. I'm grateful. My gratefulness is through the roof because I'm just like every day.
Adds to that hunger too.
Yeah. So I'm just having fun at this point.
Yeah.
And we make some noise in the Pac-12 tournament, and we get a bid to the NIT. And we play against Dayton, Obi Toppin.
Mm-hmm.
Played against Norfolk State. They weren't that good. We played against Texas. We lost to Texas, so we lost in the quarterfinals, from the semifinals. If we won that game, we would have went to New York to play. But that was our season. But that was a good first season.
Yeah.
I averaged like 84 probably or something like that.
How many minutes were you doing?
Probably like 20 minutes.
That's pretty good.
25. Yeah, 20, probably 22, somewhere around there. But it picked up later in the year, obviously.
Right. That's just like.
But right. And at that point, we had a foundation for the next year. That next year, we were really good.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's when we were like, okay, now we're juniors. Like, we know what it is. Like,
and is that where also your leadership on the team started setting in? That these are the younger players, and I mean, you said that first year you had one senior.
I feel like my leadership came and really, was brought to the apex when I was a freshman almost. Because my seniors would like listen to me. Like they would like George King, Don Collier. They would allow me to speak. Like Torrey Miller. They would allow me to speak even when I couldn't speak. Like they knew that I had something important to say, and they gave me the floor, like to mess up and everything, bro. Like they had that insight, and thankfully that I had the courage to do it. So when next year came around, it was easy for me.
Right.
When next year came around, it was like second nature for me,
Right.
and it's been second nature since that time.
I think just having that social circle where you have the confidence to mess up is a really important thing because when you're in a high judgment environment, there's a lot of stress And sometimes you can boil it all the way down to a family. Like having a mom who doesn't let you fail and always wants you to be perfect. It's like a lot of those kids burn out because they spend all their time trying to be perfect. When push comes to shove, they mess up, they give up because there is no failing, learning, and going.
Right.
It's just that process.
Right.
So I think that's really important.
Right.
So you wrap up that year, you move on, and it's a good year.
Yeah.
So talk about that a little bit, just kind of,
Oh, junior year was good. I mean, for me,
this is your fourth year at CU, or your third year?
Third
right.
year.
Second year playing.
Second year playing, 3 year at CU. And that year was just fun, man. I mean,
good friends, you've known them all for.
Yeah, I mean, I turned 21 that year. That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But I mean, just from the fact that basketball, we knew it needed to be done. I mean, at this point, I'm all square away as a student. Academics is not even like a worry anymore.
Right.
I'm building that part. So it's just basketball, and we had a good year. I mean, me and McKinley, Deshaun, and Tyler, 4 starters. That's pretty cool. Yeah. 4 guys in the dorms together.
Yeah.
Now starting.
Yeah.
Our 5th guy, the shooting guard on that team, we cycled between Shane Gatling, Eli Parquet, and Dalen. We cycled between those 3, and I think that hurt them a little bit. Just the unsureness. Like the insecurity, like just the job insecurity of like.
Yeah.
They don't have like a starting 2 guards. Like it's like rotating. Like
Yeah, but it happens. That's like every team.
Yeah, that's sports. But
it's also cool because you guys kind of foster the culture between the 4 of you, particularly of very accepting. Like you guys, it's okay to mess up, but just like bring that, give me that dog. Like
exactly.
I want
exactly.
that.
So after my freshman year, when those seniors left and those, I'd say the clickiness, not clicking. The seniors were great guys. I'm not saying they, but just like they wouldn't. It wasn't really a point to hang out with the team like that.
I think that's really important too, just in athletics.
Right.
Like every sport I've ever played, it's like you play better because you got dudes who are 3 years younger than you are idolizing. Like you looked up to those dudes, but the fact that you didn't get to know them as well makes it a little bit harder to make that family bond.
So the year after that, just me and the guys, and we only had 1 senior that year, like I told you. We got really close, like the whole team did, and we had a young team, but we are really close, and we spent a lot of time doing whatever together, and it just kept on building to what it is today. And today, I mean this senior year, this team that you guys are about to see in the fall is still like a family, and that's because of that team, 2018-19. You know what I'm saying? Just it's a culture now.
Yeah.
You have to contribute to the culture each and every year. You have to contribute to it each and every day.
Yeah.
It's constant maintenance on the culture, but guys are willing to do that because it's family at this point.
Yep.
And I think that's a very important point. Like I think as a person that isn't a college athlete, I think it's really cool looking into how important the team environment is, the locker room is, and especially like I want to ask you this.
I think it's important in like professional sports too. Obviously it's harder in professional sports because people have their own lives and their own families and everything.
And money's involved.
And money's involved too. It's just like kind of not everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah.
But like the locker room is still an important piece of
Have you heard that? Like from your friends? There's various amount of people that you've mentioned are all in the NBA now. So.
I just think about it with like the Lakers this year, like locker room was probably shitty over there.
LeBron was like, "You gone, oh, I don't like you."
Locker room was probably shitty over there, and it's not everybody was bought in. Buy-in is such a huge thing in sports.
Yeah.
If you can buy in to what the coach is trying to sell to you guys and get you to believe in yourself, like this guy really is winning.
Yeah.
So in that year, our junior year, we were battling. We knocked off Dayton. They were number 13 in the country at the time, but they only lost 2 games that year. They only lost to Kansas and us. We took Kansas. We went to Allen Fieldhouse to play Kansas. That was an experience, bro. Like that
bet.
field house, oof, loud. When you talk about loud arenas, loud arena. Like probably the loudest. It's probably the greatest atmosphere I played in, being a college basketball player. And
Well, I mean, you also played here with Arizona, and that was probably pretty electric too.
No,
I was there for that. That was crazy.
That was crazy. We'll get to that in a minute, but.
So the Kansas, that was in the tournament.
No, that was like
because you went to their field house, so that was
that was just like a scheduled non-conference, just regular season game.
Yep.
And it was number 21, which is number 2 in the country, and we were ranked pretty much the whole year at that time, and we lost that game by 14, I think. And didn't play well. I mean, I played well. I mean,
yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah, I played well. That was your freshman year, right? Right.
So I wasn't like a huge CU guy before I was in high school, but by the time I was here, I was like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's time.
And
so this is like winter-ish, right?
Yeah, winter-ish. You know,
winter 2019.
December 2nd. That was the game.
Yeah.
I think. And then we beat Dayton December 23rd, like 2 days before Christmas. And then we hopped into conference play, and we were still ranked at this point. And we were battling, Peyton Pritchard in Oregon. We had some good battles with those teams, and battling UCLA and battling USC. I mean, I didn't lose to USC until this year.
Right.
And just like it was just fun. We ended that year. COVID hit that year. Honestly, COVID hit in March. We ended on a 5-game losing streak. I think
I remember that.
We was like, we already made the tournament. Like, I mean, that was not.
But the young guys.
That was not my mindset. But I feel like that was the collective mindset of the team. Like, we already made the tournament. It's not really like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we were gonna go to the tournament either way, but we should have ended on a better note.
Right.
But
momentum carrying it.
Right.
It's more important than health sometimes.
Right. But it ended up mattering anyway because COVID hit.
Right.
So
there was no tournament that year.
No tournament.
So
we just lost in the Pac-12 tournament, but they canceled the games.
Right.
Directly after our game. So it didn't even matter if we lost.
So, I mean, this is something that probably people don't know. Like, what was your COVID like? Because for me, I mean, it was a terrible time for the world, but I learned a lot about myself, and I actually had a decent time getting to know like a very few close group once I was able to go outside my family. So what was that experience for you? Was it the worst? Was it the best?
It was actually kind of fun. Just like being at home, like it's kind of like a pause, like a little pause in life.
Especially because you couldn't play 2 years, and then you went crazy for 2 years. So now it's like, all right, let me take a second.
Right.
Also, you don't have any distractions. You just get to look at what you did and focus on the craft.
Right. So that was an interesting time, just being at home and just hanging out. Doing at-home workouts, and I built a basketball. I mean, we had a basketball hoop built in during COVID, so I didn't have to go to a gym anywhere. I just shot at my house, and that was pretty fun. Just in that time, just working out and staying at home, and there's a lot of family time that was pretty much needed.
Yeah.
So.
Did you ever have any anxiety with the stroke stuff? Like, did you ever feel like that was going to happen again, or was there any ever part of you that was like just anxious about it, like pushing yourself to the absolute limit in practice? Like,
nah, bro. Once it happened, it happened. Like, if it's gonna happen again, it's gonna happen again.
Yeah.
I can't control it.
And you were doing everything you can. You're being top 0.1 healthiest people in the country playing basketball. So.
I can't control it. I can't see my life in fear, worrying about it.
That's powerful.
That's a deep way of looking at it. Because I feel like most people, I mean, when you look at adversity, not a lot of people look at it that way.
Yeah, and I had the option, I told you, Coach Bull said, you can remain on scholarship here and not play basketball for the rest of your life. And you can remain on scholarship, get your degree and everything, and do like that. Or you can play. I mean, I want you to play if you want to play. I'm like, I want to play, Coach. And I had to meet with the doctors, and we had to decide what's the way I can play. Because, I had to have a blood thinner, but not be on blood thinners, because blood thinners you can't really play on those because you get cut, you start leaking everywhere. So I take a little baby aspirin every morning. That's my blood. That's my blood thinner, but it's not strong enough to where if I got cut, I bleed everywhere.
Quentin Tarantino movie type.
Right. It's just like a little, preventative measure at this point. So that's what I have to do, and that's what I still do every day. So
Is that rest of your life kind of thing, you think?
I think so. I mean,
Did they ever give you a reason? Like, did they ever say it's just kind of like shit happens? Like,
shit happens, bro.
yeah.
And sometimes you don't even know like what's the reason behind it.
Yeah.
You still gotta move on from it. You can't
come back after that.
Yeah, you can't spend your whole life trying to figure out like, oh, why did this happen?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like, it happened, but move on, learn lessons from it, and eventually, if the sun don't stop for anybody, bro.
Yeah.
The sun gonna keep on rising and going down each and every day. So the more you live in the past, the more it's gonna leave you behind.
Yep.
At this point.
And now, a quick interruption by our sponsors.
Together.org for all your mental health care needs. Find us on all social media at TGTHRORG. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
So you go home, pretty good time, and then you come back, and of course it was weird for all of us. I was moving into my first house. We both were, so I remember we had like 2 other houses in front we'd hang out with, and so for you, was the 4 still here? They were still here, right? Your class.
Oh yeah.
So that was
it's 3 of the 4 now. Steve got drafted.
which one?
Tyler Bay.
Right.
Got drafted to the Mavs.
Okay, right.
Yep.
So he left, and then it was just
It's 3 of us.
right. So you guys still live together.
Me and Deshaun live together. Kinley, at this point, lived by himself.
Okay, gotcha. So you guys come back in the fall, and I'm assuming it's weird when you guys are wearing masks in the arena.
So
practicing.
So from March until June, we were all at home. So 3 months at home.
And how was that? Were
Right.
you guys still boxing?
Yeah, same with the rest of us.
No, we doing at-home workouts. Like, our strength coach was sending
So they'd send you workouts.
send us
and
workouts and we do them. But like, yeah.
Yeah.
So at this point, we go back in June. All types of restrictions, like 1 person on the basket, no redundant, like
Your own ball,
you on your own shot, like it's so dumb.
Yeah.
And then obviously it started getting more relaxed. We started progressing throughout the season, but like mask was a thing throughout the season. We had to test every day throughout the season, and that was really weird in the fall. So when we came back, we tested every single day. They spent so much money. The conference spent so much money testing us every single day. So that was cool, and the fact that like we're safe and playing. It was just like annoying, like every day.
Yeah.
See what
That did not feel good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like we had to do it every single day.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you forget it?
No. I was practically playing for wanting to play basketball. Like,
Yeah.
Test, but that was the most fun. That was a fun time for us personally because we got to like really. That's when like our family was really in house. Like we couldn't go outside.
Yeah.
Like we weren't even supposed to be hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
Like we were. And we were like.
How would they expect you not to?
Exactly.
Every sports team in the country.
Yeah, exactly. And around this time, NBA playoffs is back on.
Bubble.
They take their hiatus.
Yeah. You remember Bubble Jamal Murray?
Oh, the greatest player ever.
Oh yeah. Him and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my God, that duel. But yeah, that was cool. And at that time, in the month leading up to the season, the playoffs are on, and we all just watch the playoffs at one of our teammates' house, and we all link up together and just watch it. And we had a good year, man. We were such a tight knit family that year, and it really showed. It really showed in our play. And the lack of fans was kind of weird at times.
Big Pump sounded for you guys?
They put it sound like this, like crowd noise,
Yeah.
and like they have cardboard cutouts in the gym. Like
yeah.
it was cool. Like it was a nice gesture for us, but like it wasn't the same.
Yeah.
But
So how was that first game coming back though? When you had fans in there, how much of a change was that?
So the first game we had a little bit of fans, but that year still. I think the Arizona game here.
And that was like people were spread out, and still masked up.
People were like sitting on top.
Yeah.
Like not even like near the
But
floor.
in their family, we were
Yeah, we only had
Vibes.
family. We only had family at the games.
right.
So people was, you know, real spread out and up top, and it was just weird. But it was a good time. Honestly, like, and that game was good for me. I mean, I killed them. I had 21 points. And I was in my bag. I ended up one of their guards ended up falling on my ankle at the end of the game. I remember hitting the free throws and walking on like Kobe tight. Hitting the free throws, like walking on. I thought I was Kobe in that moment, man.
Yeah.
But nah, I mean, the end of
Fake
that,
noise.
yeah. And then we ended that year as a fifth seed in the tournament. We made it all the way to the finals of the Pac-12 championship. Lost to Oregon State.
I remember it.
Whew. And then their little Cinderella run.
Yeah.
Whatever they did. And that was, good for them. But we were fifth seed in the NCAA tournament.
Had Ewing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat Georgetown. Beat the brakes off of Georgetown.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then lost to Florida State. And that was
a team.
Oh yeah, that was a team.
Hey,
for sure.
Scotty on that.
Yeah, Scotty. Yeah, Scotty was big time.
Yeah.
But that was a great year, man.
Yeah.
Just that was our. We would have made it to the tournament the year before, but that was our first time actually being in the tournament.
Right.
So that was.
Because you were NIT the first year you played.
Went into the first year, COVID the second year, tournament the third year, and NIT the fourth year again. But
Right.
that was just a fun way to end off the season because I remember the day after the night of the loss of Florida State, we were still in Minneapolis in the tournament. Left home next day. We was all in the same room, chilling.
Yeah.
Just living it up with each other.
Yeah. You knew it'd be like the last time you go through that
Yeah.
entire group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That kind of
and
send off.
that group in general. So that was just like so fun, man. And by the time we get back to Boulder, season ended and we didn't care about any restrictions after that.
Yeah.
The season's over.
Yeah.
So we going to parties.
Back to it.
Yeah, we going to parties and we go on the hill and stuff we're not supposed to do, but hey, we're doing it because we've been deprived from that for 6 months, 7 months.
Because even just hanging out with each other was breaking the rules. So
Right.
And you need that. It's part of life. Like,
It's part of the college experience.
Part of summer camp.
Exactly. And that was cool. And I had a hard time after that year adjusting because McKinley and Deshaun were leaving that year, and it was just like my group, my freshman class, people who I have spent so much time with and went through so much stuff with was all gone. And I felt like I was losing a piece of myself when they were gone. You know what I'm saying? And that was really hard. Really hard. And I had to get over it. Like I was scared almost. Like I don't know how I'm supposed to go on without them.
And the fact you're able to create that family.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you have 3 more generations of dudes who love you and know you.
Right.
You didn't have that cliquey thing where you were like, oh hey guys, I'm the old guy on the team.
Right.
Nice to meet you kind of thing.
Right.
It's like, it sucks that you lost those 2, but you had that family.
Right.
Tell us more about that relationship. Like, are you guys still homies? How is that? How impactful were they to you? Obviously, they played a massive role in your life.
Yeah.
But talk to us about that.
They were just impactful, more than one way, bro. Like McKinley, they're impactful in their own ways. Honestly, McKinley taught me so much about confidence, bro. McKinley Wright was McKinley Wright, whether you like it or not. He's McKinley Wright, bro. And he's so sure of himself. As far as on the court, he bets on himself every day in and day out. He bets on himself. That confidence, I can learn something from that confidence. Sean, his uniqueness, his creativity. He makes beats and everything. And just I feel like the courage to try something new. That's what I got from Sean. And Tyler is just the courage to just not everybody's the same way. You gotta deal with different people in different ways. That's what I learned from Tyler. So I learned something from each of my group, my freshman class. And I just carried that for years. But when they left, I remember sitting in the film room last summer or last April. We were starting spring workouts. It's like, hey, this is it. Like me, D. Clifford, Will Ryan, Tristan Silva, Jabari Walker, and I forgot the last one. But that was it. You know, that was our group. And I had create a time where I really struggled because my guys were not there. But until I can accept that group and wholeheartedly, and I learned just like, it's time to move on. Like, life changes, bro. Like I said, nothing lasts forever. Nothing good or bad lasts forever.
How long did it take you to get to that conclusion of like, it's time for me to move on?
Yeah, I mean, it took me probably like 2-3 weeks, bro. Like I was moping around. Like
It's like a breakup.
bro, I was moping around. Like when they left, bro. Like I was not the same for like 2 or 3 weeks.
I mean, they were part of your life
Like,
for so long.
Yeah, like in the workouts, I was so frustrated because like I felt like I had to start over with those new freshmen and sophomores. And I just like it wasn't happening at the greatest time, and it was weird to me because basketball was always been fun. So I was like, but I had to take them out of the equation. Like basketball is still basketball out there. You know what I'm saying? And
Again.
exactly. And that summertime, we started practicing and we having a good time, and we just, I'm living myself this year. So now we're on senior year, and I'm living myself on Folsom, crossing the football field, and I have my guys over. Like June 4th. The minute I get back in town, like, all right, come over, guys, we're gonna go to a party or whatever. We're gonna have fun. And that was routine. That summer we just hang out. We hung out so much. We went to Canes so many times. We went out to eat so many times. Like the whole group, like the whole team, and just that bond of Keyshawn that was the last one. Keyshawn, my dog, he was in that phone too. The 6 guys made on that team, and so that was it. Like we just spent so much time together. We just intensified that family feeling so much, and then we had a foreign trip that summer, last summer. We went to Costa Rica. And that was a fun time, man. I was the old guy on the team, so I spent a lot of money on these experiences, drinks or jet skis, whatever it is. I just spent a lot of money, I spent pretty much all my grad money on the experiences for them.
Yeah.
But I was so indulged in having fun with my teammates, because that was my senior year, bro. I just want to have fun with my teammates.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do.
So taking a step away from basketball for a second, you're about to graduate. I don't really know, what is your degree?
No, I graduated last year. So
you just been on the team.
I've been doing a grad program, installed the organizational leadership program this year.
What was your major?
Journalism. I graduated last year, undergrad in journalism, and I did the
1-year master program.
1-year master. Well, it's 2 years, but I didn't finish it.
Oh, okay.
So I only have 1 year. So
So is you gonna finish that program and go for basketball?
yeah, pretty much.
Gotcha.
So before you go to the future, I want to ask you about this one moment. There was that last game where you spoke at Folsom, and the whole crowd going crazy. They give all the seniors a mic. How was that moment for you? Where it was your final goodbye after the
Arizona?
game? Yeah.
That was the last game here, right?
That was second last year. We played St. Bonaventure in the NIT here,
Oh yeah.
but that was good last year.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we had our struggles this year. I mean, we were young. We were a young team. I mean, and we had. I feel like we surprised when we came 4th place in the Pac-12 and had a first round bye and did what we had to do in the tournament. Made the NIT, and that senior night game was really special to me because obviously we beat the number 6 team in the country, but also just like. Those guys really fought hard for me, and for Eli, and for Will, and for Bennett, and for before seniors. They really, like, the young guys really like stepped up and like, showed what they like, showed their love for us. You know, like how much they care about us. You know, and man, like, I was like, wow, they really like come through.
All those trips to Kings pay off, man.
Oh.
I feel like, and not even like that, just all of those times where you could, on a Thursday night, just chill by yourself, do whatever you want to do, but you know what, I'm going to just hang out, I'm going to just chill with my buddy, you know, it's just like one buddy leads to two, before you know it, the whole team's hanging out. And those moments, that's those moments just come playing athletics, you know, you're sweating, bleeding, and you're just like, I could just jog, you know, like I could just not jump right now. Like all of those things, but in that moment, it's like having the gratitude of watching your guys and like, this is for him, this is for them. Like,
it was just so gratifying for like the team and for just the coaching staff as well. Just like it was really like the whole family. Just like the fight that we had to put out during that game, like the grit, the intensity was unmatched, bro. Like if we played that way throughout the whole season, we probably wouldn't have lost very many games. Like that's how much we like our character each other showed in that game.
It was crazy whenever they flooded the court.
they have some dogs on their team.
Yeah. I mean,
A couple guys in the game.
yeah. I remember like yesterday, bro. KJ was holding the ball at half court. He came in Jabari around the clock. And I remember. Come on. Hey, come on.
I remember that.
Come on, let's turn it up. And that was a great night, man. Great night.
I remember it was cold outside, so I was wearing a jacket.
Yeah.
I took my jacket off. I like tied around my waist, and it was gone.
Yeah.
So I'm in this mosh pit with this big jacket on.
Yeah.
Sweating buckets.
Yeah. And I remember my speech. I mean, I don't remember word for word, but I just remember being so thankful of just my time here. And just reflecting on everything. I want to come back and I want to coach. Like, I thought I have unfinished business here, but
So, I mean, people watching, they'll know what's coming up next.
Yeah.
What's the future look like for you?
so I'm about to go overseas. I don't know which country yet, but my agent are in talks right now with which country I'm going to play in and what I'm going to do. So I mean, that's pretty cool. And I think all my guys, well, Tyler, we'll play overseas, Sean will play overseas, and Dallas will play overseas. So I mean, a lot of my guys have been playing overseas, so that's going to be good. And I'm just excited to make an impact. That's all I've been chasing ever since I've been in this game. Impact. So I'm just excited for it all, and the future is the future, and I can't really nobody can know the future, but I know that I have unfinished business here in Boulder, and I want to come back here and coach. I mean, honestly, bro, like I struggle with this personally. Like I don't know if I enjoy playing basketball more or helping people with basketball more. I don't know.
You spent a lot of time helping people.
Exactly. I spent 2 years just on the sideline, just helping people. And I still train like little kids, and I still train my teammates sometimes, even still. So just like, I have to decide that at some point. I mean, obviously I don't have to decide that right now. I can play basketball and decide that later, but at some point, I'm gonna want to help people with basketball more than playing basketball. That's when I'm gonna make that decision to transfer over to coaching.
So what's your end goal? And if looking at the whole career as a whole, whether that's playing overseas for a few years, come to the NBA, like when you leave the court finally and officially, what do you want to know that you did?
Honestly, bro, it doesn't matter where I even play. It just matters that I know I gave them my all. It's not even so much more so like for anybody else. It's more so like I came back from pretty much a near-death experience into playing professional basketball and putting my all into it. And that, I just want to say that I tried my hardest.
As someone, like you said, experienced near-death experience, let's come back and lead our research a little bit, watch some interviews and some stats. And most wins, you're part of most wins in school history, most conference wins. Like, what does that feel like to be something of an Ironman, right? Like, you don't play for 2 years, then you have the stroke, and then you're the guy that's always there. Like you're always ready to go from that moment on. So like to be able to have that 180 switch of like, oh, we can't play, and then he's hurt, and then he's got the stroke, so he's coming back. So be like, boom, I'm that guy from then on. Like, because availability is the best ability.
Right.
I know you've heard that. But.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a testament to my teammates first and foremost. I mean, just there's no I the team. There is an M and A, but it's not perfect because it's like you can't win by yourself. Like obviously you have to around you like want to win for you and want to win for your teammates. And, you know, I've been around some selfishness, some selfless guys in my time. I mean, I've been around probably the most selfless guys you can imagine. In my time here, and just to be a part of like the most wins in senior history, like to be a part of the most accomplishments in senior history, it's not even gratifying almost. It's like it feels like just supposed to happen. It feels like it was destined to happen. You know, because all the work that we put into it. Right. I remember after the Arizona game, we went to Utah. I hadn't had my career high. I hit like 6 threes, so I was like 6 for 9 for 3 at the game. And that was our fourth 20-win season in a row. So the year I didn't play, we won like 17 games, like 17, 15. We weren't that good. Part of it was the team chemistry and dynamic. But that was our fourth 20-win season in a row. And I'm like, what we do, coach? What we do? 20 wins, what we do, man? That's it. Yeah. Every game. And I'm just so thankful for having him in my corner the whole time.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's really powerful that your goal, you know, like you don't know if you like helping people play basketball or playing basketball, and yet you've helped so many people. Like, and you don't even probably know like how many people you've impacted through the game, not in the game. But it's just the fact that that was your goal, and you've already achieved so much towards that goal, right? Like, and the more you play, the more you live on teams, and that's kind of why I think it's awesome that you're still playing overseas. Right. And it sounds like you're going to transfer to coaching pretty effortlessly. You're keeping connections.
I need to experience like some different cultures and some different perspectives, so I can come back with as many perspectives as I can to share with my team.
Yeah.
You know, to share with my future teams. And you know, I care about the school. I love the school so much. I love it since I've been on my visit here, and I just want to make sure that college basketball is progressing in the way that it should be. I don't think there's any reason why we can't be a national program. And that's my goal, is to make it. I mean, Coach Bull's already started that wave, and I'm gonna ride that wave and push it along, pay my dues, and the next generation is what's important to me. First and foremost.
I think it's awesome though how you led by wanting to make an impact and not really focusing on all these titles and wins and most wins, this, that, these awards.
The wins and losses will come.
Yeah.
I mean, you just worry about your culture being right, and the rest will follow. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so that shows with your off the court stuff as well. You won a couple of awards with the school. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I can't. I won a lot of awards.
So one thing I do want to ask you about, there's a scholarship, the LGBTQ plus advocacy scholarship. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I feel like that is an amazing thing.
Yeah. So I first got offered that scholarship probably mid-year this year. I forgot Nick's last name, but Nick was the founder of that scholarship, and he ran it through athletics, and they obviously granted that scholarship and funded it, and ran it by Rich George and all everything like that. And what was interesting to me was me and Alessia Poole, the other recipient from that scholarship, we didn't get the money this year. We didn't get the scholarship money, but I was like sort of a pioneer for that scholarship. So I knew I wouldn't get the money before I maybe accepted it, but but that wasn't the point of the scholarship. That wasn't the point of me accepting the scholarship. The point of it was, for me, was to make it as big as possible. And to make it to where people who are in that community feel like they're invited and welcome and cared about and they matter. And it was big time for me just hosting that game. It's the Utah game. Had like a little LGBTQ plus like not theme night, but like just like that was the game that I was accepting my scholarship officially. And I had a whole video made up and played it during timeouts. And that was just a big time for me because I have people in my life that are in that community and I care about them deeply. And they're better than me more than just as much as anybody else does. So why don't I make them feel like they're wanted, make them feel like they're represented, you know what I'm saying? And I have plenty of friends in the community and I love all my people here. And that's just one of the things that I need to make sure I got across.
I love that, man. And also, just like you're saying, setting up that culture for the future and that scholarship to grow and grow.
So the next person will get the money from that scholarship. And thankfully they won't have to like really they have to do a project or anything, but like they won't have to like hide it. They won't have to like be nervous about it. Because if I can put my name associated with that, then because people are gonna have whatever they're gonna say about it. You know what I'm saying? People are gonna be haters or not. Like, I can't really care about the haters. Like I can just care about like what I think, what my people think, and what people I represent think. And at the end of the day, I know I did the right thing.
I think it's really important also. A lot of times when people are famous, which you are locally famous, I don't know if you do that yet.
Mayor.
It's like no, that you have to use your platform, right? So that's sometimes people struggle with that, or they just choose not to do it. So in conjunction with the fact that you love this program, you love the school, I think it's really awesome that it's about to change. As we're wrapping up here, before we get to kind of relating it back to what we do together, one of my questions that I've just kind of developed throughout this is, where you're at right now, you've accumulated so much and achieved a lot, but what would you tell yourself the moment you failed? Like that Evan, what would you tell him?
Ninth grade?
Like that kid, like that you.
Yeah.
What would you go back when you show up in his bedroom one day and it's just you and him sitting on the bed? What would you tell him? Because I think it's a really important thing.
It's gonna all be alright.
Yeah.
It's gonna all be okay, man. Just keep going, keep working. Cause there's so many moments of like unsureness and like me being insecure about what's the future gonna look like, and just me being like just sad about like what, like not being able to play or like whatever it is. Like just keep going, keep on keeping on. Cause it's gonna all come out. I mean, nobody's had this experience that I've had.
The best thing that's happened to you is also the best thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
It's all perspective.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's deep, and I love that. I mean, this whole podcast, just like listening to you talk about your life and your experiences, it's awesome that like we get to film this and record this and show it to people, because not a lot of people at your level of success or just what you're doing on and off the court have the ability to have that vulnerability and come to terms with their insecurities and talk about it. But I think the moment you do, and like having these conversations, you are enlightening so many people to be able to come to terms with their own struggles and their past.
That's the ultimate thing for me. I mean, just realizing the people that just, like I said, it's not gonna rain forever, bro. Like I felt like it didn't rain forever. It rained for a long time, but it didn't rain forever. You know what I'm saying? That year was tough, but it ended. You know what I'm saying? Everything confident to an end, bro. Good or bad.
Sweet. So now, what I want to do is I want to tell you a little bit about our company. I want to see your opinions on it and
switching concept. So basically, both Jack and I big on mental health, vulnerability, and getting help. So together org is built upon three factors. The first thing is breaking the stigma. So we have like clothing, we have podcasts, we do these things so that we can make it cool for people to have these conversations and get the help they need. And the second is educating. So educating the youth, telling them, like teaching ninth grade Evan, it's okay to feel these feelings, but this is how you work through it. And then you want to talk about the third thing?
Yeah, it's just different, like non-traditional forms of therapy, right? Like you can go and talk to someone who's like 45 but has no idea what you're going through. So what we want to do is connect people with people around them who have shared experiences closer in age, so that they're able to give advice and help them in ways that they've never heard before. In conjunction with resources that like meditation and all that stuff is kind of taboo still, but there's no place where you can do all of that at once. You have a Calm app and you breathe. You have this app that gets your workout routine. But putting it all in one place and an overall wellness app is kind of our goal, because at this point we feel like it's still a very stigmatized conversation. Right? I know that it's come a long way in the past 5-10 years, but it's a thing that we want to fix moving forward, because it's an issue that we're going to have to deal with at some point, and it's got to get tackled by someone.
It's not going away either.
It's not. It's only getting worse, if anything, especially with COVID.
Yeah.
So I just kind of want to know, like, what do you think about what we're trying to do, and how would you have received this as a freshman?
Yeah. I was talking about saying this. So in my time at CU, I joined this group called Boulder Buffaloes, Boulder Buffs, and that group was pretty much just a group that destigmatized mental health and made it okay, because it was like an athletic group, and it's all about the Kenny Leonard, Billy Tompkins on soccer, some other people, but those were the main two, and they invited me to be in that group and founding that group, and we just worked on like just making it okay and not be okay, just like relaying that message to our student athletes, and we're not like what's the word? Like psychologists. Like we're not like the person like we talk to like
Professionals.
Yeah, we're not professionals, but like we can like refer you like to our points here, or like we can like offer like a listening ear, like to wherever you're going through, we can listen and we can just not even tell you what to do, but just listen to it. Like what I'm saying? Like that was big time for us. It's like we felt like that mattered. We felt like that work was good for the community, good for our community too.
Okay.
So I feel like in connection to that, it's kind of the same thing we're trying to do as in this programs, and I'm all about that, because obviously I've been in a situation where I'm working on the same goal at this point. So I'm a fan, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, and I really do appreciate you coming out. This is your last day in Boulder before you move out.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I mean, this is going to be aired when the semester starts. But is there any final things you'd like to tell the city of Boulder?
Oh man, I love you so much. Go Buffs.
Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Bro, for real.